Hello, everybody. Actually, no, I'm not on my lunch break, but thank you for asking. Hopefully, everybody can hear me okay. I see we've got a handful of people watching, and I appreciate everybody showing up for this. Um, and for those in the future that aren't here live, I still appreciate you taking the time out to the Vision Quest, which is going to be the Great Mandela Effect experiment. So basically what I want to do was, well, the background, how I got this idea was, Chick and I, we do our Lost and Found Bin show on Saturdays. And I'm sure you've heard me repeat this probably ad nauseum about when we were talking about putting water parks on the moon, and that somehow ended up being where there could be other attractions on the moon as well. And then shortly afterwards, to skip 3 or 4 steps, because I'm sure everybody I see here, they're probably pretty familiar with the channel. What had ended up happening was, after we talked about that, and in context to the Mandela effect, what happened was they found water on the moon. And then they found, or actually I believe specifically it was lunar ice, but basically there was water on the moon, which is obviously related to our water park. And then ultimately, one of my favorite lines I love now is that there's now Andy Warhol. Thank you, Agent Smith. Good. I'm glad that I sound okay. So now there's Andy Warhol on the moon, because we mentioned other attractions being on the moon would be a good idea. The Mandela effect as an entity was listening to us. So, it bothered me at first, and I thought, well, who are we? How can we be so arrogant as to think that we can interact with something that can change or sculpt existence or reality or whatever it may be? But as we see with the Mandela effect, it's almost constantly changing around with just with the greatest of ease, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. I had to clear my throat. So I started to think about, what if we could try to see through a concerted effort with all of us together, and and mustering all of our energy and all of our talent, and trying to see if we can change something, or get something that is unknown now to us to become known in the future. Because, like Chick and I have always said, we think that all of these changes, they're in a white paper stuffed away somewhere. Just like, officially, we didn't cause Andy Warhol to be on the moon. That it was always there, that half, wiki page of Andy Warhol being on the moon. But it is kind of interesting how it entered our world and everyone else's world that runs with this show, that there is indeed Andy Warhol on the moon, and there's water on the moon now, after we've talked about water parks. So I thought, why don't we try to concentrate on an event, a historical event, all of us? And what I'm thinking about is the Philadelphia experiment. One, it's because I've heard whispered before that this was the start of the Mandela effect. But also, two, if we all concentrate on the Philadelphia experiment, we know that something strange happened there. And we know that they were trying to do a cloaking device. But it ended up being some sort of device that shifted the USS Eldridge from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Norfolk, Virginia, which they have their own naval shipyard there. And so I think that whatever actually happened there, and whether or not the ship was cloaked, or whether or not it was teleported, or if time was, I love it now. I'm looking at the I just love Wiki. They actually have it now. It is widely understood to be a hoax. The U.S. Navy maintains no such experiment was ever conducted. Well, tell it to the Gulf of Tonkin. So, what I'm thinking is that if we were to take two things that will be our handle, it will be the actual date, which is October 28th, 1943. And then I'll end up getting the coordinates, the latitude and the longitude. And we look at just the numbers from the latitude and the longitude. And then we all and this is going to be something that's going to be ongoing all the way up until October 28th. So it's going to be something that we're going to build on, and we're going to bolt and put together, okay, this vision quest of ours. And I think it would be I think it's very serendipitous that it's just before Halloween, and that we could build up all of our energy to this together and apply our energy to a latitude and a longitude and to a particular place and time in history. And one of the things that we can do is to take the name, the USS Eldridge, take the date, October 28th, 1943, and say those aloud. Say those aloud 3 times. And do it in the morning every single day. And then, after you're done saying it aloud for 3 times, take a look at the latitude and the longitude. And try your best to internalize it, and then try to visualize what does it look like inside of the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in 1943. Not now, but what did it look like back then? Or you can try now too. The thing is that it's wide open how we're trying to do this. Then on my side, I'm going to do the same thing as well. And then also I'm going to do additional things to try to drum up some of the energy. And then what we all can do as we do this, all of us could start to say, okay, if you notice anything interesting or anything to do with the Philadelphia experiment, or even Philadelphia or the naval shipyard there or anything like that, what we could do is write it down. Write it down and then freely share it. We could freely share it amongst ourselves. And we'll keep a journal with all of us, and we'll all keep a journal of this. But the main thing that we'll all try to do, and if you can't do it every day, I totally understand, but if you could, say the USS Eldridge, October 28th, 1943, and then the latitude and the longitude, which I'll get for you. I want to make sure it's the right latitude and longitude, because I actually pulled it down from Google Maps, and I just want to make sure I get the right one. So, but I think it's something that it's something that's very simple, and we can direct our psychic energy towards a particular date and time where something very strange happened. And just by speaking this aloud, we know that the Mandela Effect is paying attention to each of us. And we know that the Mandela Effect does in its own way respond to everyone. Now, what am I expecting to get out of this? I don't know. Just like I didn't expect for there to be Andy Warhol on the moon. What I would like for it is there to be some kind of acknowledged with all of us, an unambiguous sort of response to the energy and the dedication that we're going to give to this experiment, and the dedication and the energy that we're going to give to the Philadelphia experiment. And we're all going to do it together. And, we're going to use the magical 3. We're going to say USS Eldridge, October 28th, 1943. USS Eldridge, October 28th, 1943. USS Eldridge, October 28th, 1943. And then you're going to look at the Latin longitude, and you're going to imagine, even using your imagination, with that latitude and that longitude, what the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard looked on October 28th, 1943. And then any visions you have or anything that comes to you, write it down. And then as we go throughout our days, each of us will write something down. if something strange happens that even seems remotely in the sphere of what we're talking about. And that way, what we'll have is an ongoing living document that records our vision quest. And our vision quest is to try to see if we can somehow get the Mandela Effect to respond to a group of people's energy. Because I think that day when we were all listening and we were talking about the Mandela Effect and there being water parks on the moon, I thought that was so cool, the response that we got back from it, because it was so strange and so bizarre. And it's like, what else can we do? And what if we were to not do something in passing? We were to do something that's ongoing. And something that's very simple and easy to do. It's something that doesn't engulf your entire life. It's just something that could maybe possibly become part of what you do in your morning routine, or even if you can't do it, just in the evening or at lunch, on your lunch break. Yes, very Agent Smith says, very interesting prospect focusing on this point in time. If you could share this coordinates on Twitter, LRT. Excellent. Yeah, I will share this coordinates. And it's Wednesday now, and Chick is aware of what we're going to do, and I will share out the coordinates on I'll share it out here. I'll make a comment. I'll share it out on Twitter, and then our normal episode with Chick and I for the Lost and Found bin, what we're going to do is I'll share it out there. And then on air, we're going to say it 3 times like I just did. And then on air, we're all going to do this together. I'm going to re-explain what we're doing, and then we're all going to marshal all of our psychic energy, and we're going to try to concentrate on that point in time in history. And we're going to do it together. And let's be sincere in heart when we do this. And let's try to see if we can't make some kind of change. Because the thing about it is this, guys. If you believe the Mandela Effect is real and it's affected you, you now know, like I was talking about, the contract between your internal world and the external world, it's very different than what we were taught, and that it's very malleable. Well, what are the rules to that? In part, what this is, the Vision Quest is trying to figure out what that is. Oh, and if you're wondering, the Vision Quest, it's a kind of a nod to 1980s movies, since movies seem to be one of the things that the Mandela Effect, deals with. And Vision Quest was a movie about this wrestler in the 1980s, so I thought it would be a really cool kind of nod to that. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to say the date, we're going to say the USS Eldridge, and then we're going to concentrate on the coordinates. And we're going to see, by marshaling all of those things, and also know this particular experiment that we're doing, there will be leeway in order to add or subtract to overall what we're doing. So, yeah, this is Scotty. Anything's a ritual. You get up and you do the same thing every single day. That's a ritual. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hide that. I mean, I'm not trying to do something dark. What I'm trying to do is see if we can't elicit in almost a kind of control setting in a vacuum, almost like what scientists do. The scientists do the scientific method is a ritual. So yes, I mean, I hope that word doesn't scare everyone off, but yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to do it like basically what scientists will do. We're going to try to do something that in the past has elicited a response from the Mandela Effect, and we're going to try to see if we can't do that again. Only this time, we're going to be marshaling all of our talents. Anything can happen. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, last time we mentioned water parks, and museum attractions or attractions, and we got Andy Warhol on the moon. So who knows? Who knows what we could end up with? But I think that if we can end up with something, you know, and try to do this in a controlled setting, exactly, Q, a controlled experiment, and if we can show the world as we sort of write all of these things down, show the world that indeed you can get a response, elicit a response from the Mandela effect, that'll be a major step forward. I think it's an important thing that we should all do. And I need your help. And I need, you know, as many people as possible to lend your talent and to lend anything else. And if there's something about this controlled experiment that I'm missing, or if there's something that you know that could help out with this, the great thing about this experiment that we're going to do in this controlled setting is that I'm going to make it like the Mandela effect. I'm going to make it malleable. It can be changed. What we're starting off with both saying the USS Eldridge and then the date and then the coordinates, that's just the starting point. This thing can grow and blossom and bloom and do all kinds of really interesting things. So let's do this. Let's do this together. And it would just be something if we can get from the Mandela effect, something, some kind of response or something that we all know. Especially, please write down everything and record it and let me know what's going on here. Darcy is real. The reader. I don't like it here. It's like coming from living in a major motion picture to some crazy cartoon geared towards adults. Very interesting. LC says, a few months ago, I was thinking it could be nice to have a rainbow fire. The next day, Ave or some other Mandela effect was talking about it. See, that's exactly right, LC. I've noticed that too. You could talk about something or bring something up, and the next day, that's exactly right. The next day, those things will somehow manifest themselves. So let's try to together do something that's coordinated and something real, and see what kind of major response that we get back. I guess together, if we pick a subject, something to create, it might affect. Yes, that exactly. Yes, Elsie. I think so too. So let's do that, everybody. So all of our homework is going to be starting tomorrow, or you could even do it today. It's the USS Eldridge, October 28th, 1943. Say it 3 times. I'll go ahead and look up the coordinates. I'll go ahead and paste them to this particular, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up and get the right coordinates. But I'll go ahead and paste them to this particular video. If you guys want to come back in like an hour or a couple hours, I'll have the coordinates and I'll pin them to this video titled The Vision Quest, The Great Mandela Effect Experiment. And then I want you to take those coordinates after you've repeated that 3 times and try to internalize it and try to, even if you're imagining, making it up, what does the Philadelphia shipyard look like back in the 1940s? And let's try it and see what we could do, you know? And let's see if, you know, with this, if we can get a response from the Mandela effect. Because yeah, LC was right. There's been a million times where I've said something and somebody the next day brought it up or talked about it. And when you get in a moment like that, write it down and give it over to all of us, to the group. We'll all share it together because we could build that energy together. And, you know, knowing that we're concentrating on the Philadelphia experiment, where, who knows, maybe it is the birth of the Mandela effect, you know, because they really changed something there. Well, obviously, you know, according to mainstream, you know, scientists, we're probably all kooks, but that's fine because this whole thing's basically is a hoax, right? According to Wiki. So all we're all doing is really just wasting our time anyway. So, but yeah, guys, let's do this. Let's do this thing. And so I'll get those coordinates to you in a couple hours here. And that was it. I mean, this wasn't going to be some long drawn out thing, but we'll talk about it. And maybe we'll have something even as soon as Saturday. And if you guys could hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. And tell everybody who wants to get in on it. You know, everybody who wants to be a part of this, because it's relatively simple. It doesn't take a lot of time. And you know, and yeah, if it gets to be too intense for you, please stop and it's okay. So, all right, everybody. Hold on. All right. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. And I'll get those coordinates to you in a few hours, and then we'll touch base again Saturday, and then I'll try to specifically talk about it some more on Sunday. Talk to you later. Bye.